Hey guys, how you doing? This will be a little video about really bunch of random tips and tricks and myths that I think of today with the knives, and it's a video response to my buddy SrJoben. He's running the contest, and I really want to put something nice together for him because he's a good guy, and I really like the idea of the contest. And he wants to, like I said, show some tips and tricks and some techniques with the knives. And I'm just gonna go really random. First off, fixed blade will be always better than a folding knife in outdoor use. Knife like this, $30 Becker Escobar, Becker Necker, Izula, will always serve you much better, and you can count on it much more than any folding knife, trust me. Stuff like this little guy, you can actually stand on it. If you would wedge it in something and you stand all the way close as you can to where your point is, it won't break. These knives are, for how thin and small they are so tough that you could never do stuff what you can do with this with a folding knife, never. Without risking, some of them might withstand it, but there is still the chance of risk. And to carry something like this even in your EDC, hey, why not? It's small enough to have it, to put in your backpack, whatever, fanny pack, stuff like that. I carry always a fixed blade, and I'm in the big city, but still, I don't know, you never know. It doesn't take any space, any weight, so why not? So, first recommendation, get a fixed blade. You guys know, some of you know that I'm a big fixed blade guy. Now, a couple things, I did some video before about it, but one thing is, if you are stuck with the folding knife and you want to split some wood to start a fire, don't baton with the knife in open positions. That's how you mess up your knife. That's how things break. That's how you get hurt. Now, this is not the best example because that's assisted, that will keep trying to open on me. Baton with knife disengaged like this. Grab it by the pivot, and now just guide the blade in and baton like this through it. That's the best way how you're gonna preserve your knife and your safety. Also, another thing, if you have to baton through stuff like this and you need something bigger, another good way to preserve your knife and your safety is, let's say I have this already here, right? And I don't have it ready now, but I'm gonna give you an example here. All I have to do to save this knife from doing the hard work is stick a little wedge that I cut before and baton that into it. So I'm gonna remove the knife now, put it aside, put my little wedge there, and just finish batoning with the wedge. You're gonna save your edge, you're gonna save your knife, and such and such. Little tricks will help you a long way. Another thing is, sometimes instead of, when you're trying to do, and I'm no expert in this is just like stuff I picked up. Some of it I just like came up on my own. But when you do the little kindling, the small little tinder, sometimes again you don't have to like scrape the wood with your edge. When you have a good spine, which you should, because in my opinion the good knife has to have a place to strike a fire steel. You can do the same thing with your spine, again to preserve the edge. Let me put a piece of cardboard here just to show you. And this is a nice knife to show it because this is nice and sharp spine. And check it out. I can get really nice fine shavings without ever ruining my edge, You see that? And then I can do the toothpick size, feather stick and stuff like that. But for really fine shavings, spine will do just fine. Another thing, another big myth that I've noticed a lot of people do not realize, they always keep mentioning that you need a high carbon steel for a ferro rod. You do not. Ferro rod will strike, the regular ferro rod not the flint. Ferrod will strike with any kind of steel, you know. This, not even steel, with any kind of sharp edge. Titanium, as far as I know, there is no carbon. Rock, you know, if you scrape it nice, it's gonna go the same way as a knife. So there's one big myth some of you might not know. Ferrod does not need the carbon in the blade. Carbon is needed if you're doing the old school technique, flint and steel. If you find yourself a flint and you have, this is not the right good example, but, and it's still hard. I tried it on a lot of different carbon knives. It's really not guaranteed. It's kinda unsafe because you're risking you holding your knife normally by the edge like this and you're striking it on the edge of the flint. That's the only thing where you need that carbon in the steel. That's what gives you those sparks. The best bet doing the flint and steel method with the knife is if you have a big old machete and you actually find a big rock and you scrape the machete on that rock with your char cloth right there. That's the best bet that you can, because you have a lot of area, a lot of friction where you actually get the spark going. Like this, it's very hard, very hard. What else is here? Like I said, random tips. Folding knife. One of my favorite features on the folding knife is a wave. I never like how the factories do the waves. You know, Emerson factory Spyderco wave. I think they are ugly. Nice trick is, I'm gonna put in the picture here. You see that little notch? That's a homemade little wave. Just a Dremel tool and nothing else. Dremel tool with some basic tips. Another nice example is this. This is actually a gift from my friend, actually SrJoben. That's what he did because of my videos. And he actually sent me this as a thank you gift because he did this for a couple other people thanks to my video, which was really awesome, and he didn't have to do that. But blade, everything works just fine. Doesn't make it weaker, and you see how very unobtrusive it is. The nice thing about this is that you can pull out the knife out of the pocket whenever you want without disengaging the wave feature. It's all up to how you pull the knife out, you know. If you pull it straight up, it's not gonna go. If you pull it backwards, waving engage, and the blade will open. So, and almost any knife you can do it. Mini grip Tillian, you see right there, you have the spot. Hey guys, sorry, the UPS guy came and brought in some new gear I ordered, and also the new knife, another Gavko. These are the two there, Daryl Ralph designs from Gavko. Really cool knives for the money, I gotta say. Gonna have a review of that later. But I'm actually impressed with what you get. Not that bad. I mean, they are assisted, but that can be fixed. And decent weight. Another thing, good example. Another thing, last thing I want to talk about in this video is one of the biggest, in my opinion, biggest myths, and kinda, you know, what I think, in my opinion, is the lock strength. I had the video talking about it, and I had even more time, you know, to think it through and put the right words into it. And what I'm gonna say is that lock strength is hugely overrated, and unless you are literally LEO, police, you know, army, or somebody who actually has a big chance of getting into the knife fight, which is slim to none, then you do not need no extra special locks, nothing, because 99.999% of the right use of the knife is in forward slashing. You're cutting something, you're slashing something, you're chopping something, whatever you do, there is literally no risk of hurting yourself, of cutting yourself, because the lock would fail on you. The only thing, what I can think of, right off the top of my head, when you're actually putting a negative pressure on the blade is when you're strapping your knife. I always find it annoying when I strap my slip joints, because you actually putting the force that closes the blade. So that's about the only thing. And even as, in my opinion, even as you carry a knife as a self-defense, last ditch weapon, as an untrained individual like myself, I think you actually have better chances if you defend yourself with slashing motions than stabbing. Me personally, I would never go stab somebody. If I ever, God forbid, have to defend my life with a knife, I would not be going stabbing somebody. Definitely not. I would be slashing and going away, trying to evade, not going into the attacker. But that's me. I'm really not experienced in any self-defense. I have no training. It's just me, thinking out loud and kind of, from some common sense. My common sense, that's what I would do. So, as long as you use your knife right, you have really no reason to worry about your fingers and blade closing on your fingers. Most of the time it's because people are not careful. They cut themselves. They go stabbing through something, very uncarefully. They disengage the lock. They hold the knife not properly. They move the hand not properly. When they, for example, cutting bottle or something, and they move upwards and stuff like that. But that's not the fault of the knife and knife lock. That's the fault of the user. And it's, most of those things are like that. In my opinion, even the line lock is plenty strong, unless it's something really, really stupid, I mean, if I grab a knife, open a knife, and I cannot close it like this with my hands, I don't think I have anything to worry about. I don't think I would ever put more pressure, more force onto the blade spine than I can actually do with my hands like this. And if there is something wrong with the knife, like really wrong, you've seen it in some videos, the knife do have defect sometimes, then you can actually, this is not the right example, but on some of the frame locks or liner locks, if the angles are wrong, you can actually depress the knife and the lock will slide. That's about the only thing, and that's actually easily discoverable when you do this, when you try it with your hands. I don't think there is any need for spine wax and stuff like that. And like I said, unless you are somebody who is actually in a big risk of close, small areas, and close spaces, knife fight, then you shouldn't dwell on the knife lock so much. It's kind of a myth in my eyes, and I think that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe some of you learned something, and thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and remember, don't cut yourself.